Hello students, in this video we will see about unwrapping. Unwrapping is required when you want to position a texture exactly to your required area on the geometry. For unwrapping, select the geometry and go to the UV editing. Now you can see this model skin have been unwrapped on a 2D plane. It's like a package box, right? The stickering of the package box or unwrapped. A skin of this geometry is unwrapped on a 2D plane. Then we can have our own texture by taking this inside our Photoshop. Let's see some of the tools on this default cube. You can see here there are vertex mode, edge mode and face mode even inside this UV editing. Like you can select the vertex, click on G and you can grab, but we are not seeing any changes on this. So let's add a texture and let's see what will happen and what all the changes we may see on this. So I'm going to create a texture from here. I'm going to click on this new and I'm going to create a texture, but this time instead of a solid black color I'm going to change it to UV grid and I will tell OK. Now I have created a UV grid texture. Let's see on the image now. So I will hold Control space bar to maximize this viewport and switch this to shading mode, metal preview, so that I can see. And the next thing, still I am not seeing because I have not added any metal, any texture for this geometry. I just created the texture inside the UV editing. Let's add the same texture for this geometry also. For that I'm going to go for this right side metal property and you can see there is a base color. I don't want color, so I'll click on this icon and I'll go for image texture because I want to add the image texture. And which image texture? Which we have already created here. So I'm going to click on this, not new, not open, this drop down arrow, click this and apply that. Okay, so now we have applied this. I have not renamed anything. So you can see untitled, the same thing only I have applied it here. Now when you go here, selecting the vertex mode and when you grab, see it's like a skin of this 3D model. Okay, I'm just moving the skin of this 3D model. Let's see some more tools along with this. Let's take some challenging. So I'll select this face mode. Let's see where is the space positioned in this UV editing. So this is positioned over here and this is positioned below. Okay, now let's say I want to add a sticker or a texture from Photoshop. I want to add a logo which is wrapping from this surface and it will flow to this surface. Okay, so if I want to add a texture which is wrapping from ear to ear, these two polys are to be closer or it should be stitched, right? Let's see how to do this one. Okay, so now if it is looking very hard for you, this one we'll just remove this for temporarily. Okay, and now you can see better, right? So we'll keep this. So this two want to be continuous. Okay, so what we'll do, see only the selected one we are seeing, not all. So you can tell A to select all the polygon and move to your UV editing mode. Then now you can know which all the poly you need to separate it. I'll take the move tool and select the face mode, select this face and move. But when you're moving you can see it's all stitched already. So I want to separate it. The one easiest way to separate this, change this mode. Okay, so I'll go to the UV sync selection mode. Okay, now I'm going to select only this poly and separate it, and even this I will separate it. Okay, so I separated this both. I'll select all this three, all this four-sided. I'll just move it somewhere here. Now let's come back to this mode, and you can see now we got this too. Now we need to identify whether these edges are in the proper position. So you can see if I move this, both are not stitched together, so it is very difficult to continue. So we need to position it perfectly. So I'll go for edge mode, and let's identify where is this edge. So I'll click on this edge, and you can see the edge is here and the other flow of the edge is here. So let's go to the face mode and position it perfectly. So I'm going to use the rotation tool to rotate and position it, and I'll just keep it closer. Let's rotate a little bit more. Yes, and just keep it closer. Done. Now let's go to the edge mode, and when you select this edge, now it is telling this is the flow. Okay, so now let's stitch this both. Okay, when you go to this UV above, you can see there is a UV option. Okay, then go down and you can find stitch. Okay, just click on the stitch so that both will be stitched together. So click. So now it is highlighting in green, so it is telling like yes, it can stitch to this continue flow of this edge. Just click on it, and that's done. See, now we have stitched this together. Got it. Now you can go back to the sink, switch off the sink, select A, everything, select this both poly, and you can move. You can also cross check, like going for vertex mode. See, both are stitched, and you can also see here like both are having a continue flow. See, both are having the continue flow. Now I can have a texture. I can create a texture in Photoshop, and I can wrap a texture which is having a flow from the top to the side. And we need to pack everything inside this. So you can pack it manually. First learn manually everything. Okay, you can also select all together. You can scale. Here you should maintain, same size in all the chakra pattern. You should not do one big and one small. Like for example, let's go here. So if I make this big and the other rest is smaller, what will happen? See here, if I bring my, for example, a logo or any texture, here you will find this is the size, but the same logo size, if I move the texture to this another face, it will automatically decrease the size. That's what this checker is telling. So it is very essential for you to add the checker first and do the unwrapping perfectly. So maintain all sides equally, proportionately. So I'll undo this. Now everything is same. Now you can take this to the Photoshop and you can have your own texture. So now how to take this to the Photoshop? So to take this to the Photoshop, you need to go for UV, export UV layout. So click on export UV layout, and let's go on desktop and give a name. You can also select other format, let it be in PNG, and here the very important one is you need to click on this all UVs. Okay, otherwise it will not collect the data of this position of the placement of this UVs. Okay, the skin of this model, the position, it will not record. So it is better switch on all UVs and export it. So I'm going to export here on the desktop. It's done, right? So now let's go to the Photoshop and open the exported one. So let's go here. This is our exported one. Now let's create a texture for this. So let's create a new layer. And what to create? I'll just create a symbol. Okay, so I'll go to the custom shape. I'll take this only and let it be in black color, and let's say this is my logo, and I'm going to position this here somewhere here. Okay, so I have positioned this somewhere here. This logo should be wrapped from one poly to other poly. That's what I require. So the rest of the color I require like just a white solid color. So I'm going to fill it with white solid color. So let's select this, take the color and just fill it. Okay, now I got the shape and as well as this. Let's save this file. Just randomly rename, save this in JPEG so that it can load faster. You can also upload directly Photoshop, but it takes some resource, so I just saved in JPEG file. Okay, now let's change this texture, remove this texture, open and apply your created texture. Now you can see we have perfectly positioned our custom shape for a logo, exactly wrapping from this surface to this surface. So this is the basics of unwrapping. You can also go telling A, like for example, I want the same logo to be applied in this area also. So it's also like a projector. Okay, so you can bring the same image inside this so that we can see better. Let's go here and click on the image. Now we can see better, right? Now let's see where is this poly. So I'll go here and select this poly. This is this poly. Okay, let's go to the sync mode. We know this is the poly now. Okay, now let's grab this and see what is happening. So it is like a projection. Okay, this poly is going to project, okay, on this texture. So now I'm positioning this somewhere around center of this. See, so this is the useful of unwrapping. Simple, right? Now let's have another example so that you can try how it works. I'll reset the entire file. So we took this default box actually, right, and we started exploring unwrapping. But what if you have scaled this box like some package box? So for now what I did, I just scaled this box. The size of the box is totally indifferent. Okay, so let's see how it looks in UV editing. You can see the box shape is totally different than the shape which we are seeing inside the UV editing, because that is the default unwrapping of the geometry. The geometry which you had from add mesh, they will be having their own default generated UVs. So when you edit your own model, you need to plan creating the UVs according to your requirement. Okay, for example, I want to add a texture. Let's see, the first thing I told, add the checker map, judge the checker map first. Okay, so let's create a checker map, click new. Okay, and instead of blank, let's add UV grid and assign. Let's assign same thing for this, control space bar and material preview mode, add the texture, image texture and the same image. So now you can see how it is looking. the checker map which is there inside the UV is having 1:1 ratio, but here it is scaled, and here it is totally different than this side, right? So now first we need to fix this problem. Always you need to try to maintain 1:1 size of the checker map, which is showing this. This is the actual real footage of the checker map. So what you want to do, you need to fix it. There are many ways to do this. One, you can go to the poly mode directly here inside the UV editing. Select the poly which you want to fix. You can see here, let's go to the poly mode. For example, I want to fix this side. Grab this side. You can go to the scale and I am fixing it. See, like this. And if this is the size you want to maintain for all, just plan for this size and go for the another poly. For example, this one, grab it, G, grab it, and first match the 1:1 ratio of it. Somewhere this, and let's scale proportionately to match this with this scaling. So like this, you need to bring back all the size accurately. And later on, before this, I showed like how you can stitch the poly and how you can take it to Photoshop. Okay. The other way is you can also use some other methods which they are given here, but it will not work for all cases. Like you can go here UV. You can see there is one option called Smart UV Project. If you click this and tell OK, see, it's not giving the perfect result, right? It's showing the same result, like as if the default geometry size, right? So you can also select this model. Let's go back to the layout mode, and we had done applied some transformation, right? So let's go here and apply all the transformation for this geometry. You can see there is a value here. Okay, keep this in mind, there is some value, and when I click apply all transformation, see this becomes 0, means we have applied the transformation. But let's go and see whether this will fix the problem. See, now it has fixed the problem. It has understood the transformation. So before going for UV, apply the transformation. That is another solution. Then the software will understand about the actual transformation which you have done, and it will try to maintain the size, and it's done. So you got all side the same equal size, and it's done. So what we did, we applied the transformation and we added Smart UV project. So in the same way, there are many other projection. If your geometry is looking like a cylinder, then you can tell it is a cylindrical projection. If it is looking like a cube, then you can also tell cubical projection. So this is like a cubical projection, and this also works fine, right? So whichever works fine for you, go with that. And if you want your own flow, like for example, as I told in the previous, see this and this poly, I want the continuity of this, then stitch this both. Okay, the both poly to be stitched, or if this two to be having a continuity, then stitch it. Plan according to your requirement. Stitch, unwrap. Let's select all face A and let's add Smart UV. So many methods. Got it? Okay, this is one example. This is the second example I showed. I want to show you another as an example, okay, that will help you a lot with your custom model. Okay, let's reset. I'm going to add some subdivision. Control 2. You can see I added subdivision for this. Control 2 is the subdivision shortcut. of 2 value, I'll apply it. Okay, so now I applied no modifier. Let's do some reshaping of this geometry, and let's see how we can add the unwrapping for it. So now what I will do, I'll go for, while rotating, okay, so I'll just hold alt so that it can snap, okay, towards the matching view angle. So it has snapped. Now I'll go for edit mode. Let's select this, grab this, I'll switch on the proportional so that I can move this, some of the set of this vertices smoothly. I'll go for G tool and I'll grab now, and I want to grab exactly to the Z location, so something like this. Done. So next what we'll do, we'll select this poly. Okay, let's do it quickly. This is for the demonstrating on unwrapping. So let's add some quick insert, and let's scale this. Scale only this. So it's scaling all, you can see here, because the proportionality is on. So switch off, keep in mind you need to switch off. Okay, so let's scale this and position something like this. So let's do the same quickly. Okay, let's add insert, one time insert, then let's go S. You can also go for S scaling, you can do it very quickly, and position. Done. Okay, let's select this. I don't want this poly, I want to give you some example. Let's delete this too, and also quickly delete some part here. Let's alt and let's go to the X-ray mode so that I can delete all the spaces together. Delete this space and even this one, this one. So quickly I created a mask. Let's come back. So this is what I have created now. So now let's do an unwrapping for this. Let's see how to do the unwrapping for this. Let's go to the object mode, and if required, let's add a shaded one. Doesn't mind for this. Okay, so let's go to UV editing, select this A to select all, and see what is the result. This is looking same, like still the basic cube geometry is unwrapping, but our geometry is totally different, right? So this won't work. Which one? If you tell like object, apply, let's see, apply or transform. So this solution we found in the second example. So I applied the transformation for this. Okay, now let's go back to this UV editing, and still it will not solve it. Okay, it looks similar. If you go to UV and if you tell I want to go for a smart UV project, okay, and if I tell okay, let's see what result it is going to give. Oh, it has made its own pieces. Okay, so it has skinned the model and it has positioned in its own way all the pieces, but I don't want like this. We need a continuity so that I can take it to Photoshop and I can have some texture painting, or I can even do the painting here. So I don't want this type. I want a neat, clean, opened kind of skin. Okay, so to do that, we need to go for another option. Okay, we need to mark our own seams, our own cutting edges. Before going that, I will also show you, like, we can also tell I want to grab only this front, and I will tell project from view. Now you can see it has projected the surface. You can take it to Photoshop and you can paint. But if you paint on, for example, the surrounding eye area, it will also paint to the back because the back poly is already overlapped, right? So that what you want to do, you need to cut this back and keep it inside. Or there are many other methods you can try it, like cubical way of projecting, and it is giving totally different result, but we don't want any one of this. Let's add our own way. Okay, so let's reset everything. Okay, and let's go to the edge mode. I'll click this edges. So this is my cutting area. Just think like, uh, like in a real world, I want to completely skin this and keep it on a table as a flat 2D surface. That's what I am doing now. Okay, so I am going to take a scissor and cut this. Okay, and where else we'll cut? We'll cut here, this and this, and let's cut this. Let's open this area and keep it on a table. Done. Now what we'll do, we need to tell this is the cutting area. We have just selected as edges, no? So you need to go for UV and tell mark seam. So when you tell mark seam, it is highlighting this is for the cutting area. Okay, so it is going to think this is the cutting area. From this area it want to just open the skin. Okay, so now let's select all A, then go for UV. Now this time we need to use this one, this unwrap option. Okay, just click on this unwrap. Now you can see we got a perfect unwrapped mesh, right? So it is a perfect open space area. You can also add a texture and you can see like how it looks. UV grid, and let's add the seam here, image texture, and add the same UV grid and switch on this metal field like this. And we are seeing some little bit of stretchiness or different scale also, and no need to worry about this cutting edge area, because even for example in shirt, okay, we have a cutting edges near to the shoulder, arm. So this is like a cloth which we have stitched in the stitching area. Okay, so for now little bit of correction we'll do. There is one more tool which is very very helpful. It will automatically suggest some stretchy to correct it. So you can go your UV and you can see there is a minimize stretch. Okay, so let's click this, and now use what happened. So when I click this, you saw like something happened here, and little bit we can see much perfect. Okay, so this way you can alter, you can also manually go select, grab, and you can reposition, and you can solve this problem. Okay, so this way you can do your own unwrap, even the custom unwrap, using all those tools. Do it according to your rendering angle. Okay, whichever angle you are rendering, do according to that. Okay, and let's see how to do a texture paint on this. I'll just close this. I'll create a new one with a gray color or some color on this, and tell OK. Let's clear this. Let's go to the shading. Okay, let's clear this. Let's have just a solid color now. Okay, so here it is still on. Let's create a solid color. Now let's see how you can paint directly inside 3D. Okay, so there is one window here, texture paint. Now you can go to the texture paint section. You can paint for a base color, or you can paint even for many other purpose. You can see there are brushes here, drawing brush, smur brush, clone brush, and you can also tell I want to paint only for the specular region, rough region. So by default it will be in the base color. Okay, so let's select the brush radius size, the strength of your paint, and color which you want to paint it. For example, I want to paint something like a blue. So then start painting. See, directly you can start painting on the model. You can also paint here as well. You can also paint here and it will reflect the same because it is a projection, right? It projects the same texture. So likewise, you can go play around. You can add the texture either from here, you can paint, or you can also paint it from here. I'm just playing around. Go ahead, try this. Do the unwrapping before texture paint. It is always suggested to do the unwrapping first, then start painting. You can also just try smart UV unwrap. That is also fine for the texture painting. But if you want to exactly take this to your Photoshop and position some textures, so it is better to unwrap neatly. Okay, play around, have fun, and we'll see in the next class. Thank you.